All right, hello everyone. Justin Vacula here. I'm here with Max of the Escaping Atheism project. We're going to talk a little bit about some of our differences, some of the content that Max has been putting online. I've mainly been uploading videos on Stoic philosophy, but I've also been engaging with atheism, the atheism community, some local groups, and have blogged about the topic in length. Also working with church-state separation issues. So I invited Max to join me in a conversation here about atheism, about philosophy, and hopefully we'll have a productive discussion for our viewers. So thanks for coming on today.
Hey, great to have me. Great to be here, Justin.
Yeah, I see that you recently started the Escaping Atheism project. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what led to the start of that project?
Well, as a former atheist myself who was involved peripherally in atheist movement politics and such back in the early 2000s, leaving right around 2006, 2007, when it was cresting, I had always assumed atheism, that it was a fad, that it was going to go away. I didn't realize it had morphed into such a hideous, horrible hate movement dedicated to ignorance and intolerance and hate, which is what atheism is now. And having heard from many, many people who couldn't stand the atheists on television, you know, horrible men like Sam Harris, horrible men like Bill Maher, horrible men like Penn Jillette, whom I'm ashamed I was ever a fan of or ever gave any money to. College professors afraid to reveal that they're not atheists. Philosophers, people at work afraid to reveal that they're not atheists. Atheist is a hate cult, and I had started it about a year and a half ago. I had a title called God and Man in the 20th Century, but it was boring, caught no fire. Had changed, I had another title for it briefly, but eventually I put out a poll with some random ideas, and my followers, overwhelmingly of the choices that came to us, Escaping Atheism was what our followers wanted, because we are dedicated to helping people escape from atheism. It is a deranged hate cult. So is much of what is supposedly called skepticism. Most of you are also just dogmatic atheists who are not to be trusted because you're not honest people. And you're frequently abusive. I'm including you in that, Justin. If I recall that little stunt you used to use, going around peddling pseudoscience, telling people that science said prayer doesn't work. You lied to people, and that's spiritual, psychological abuse. And one of the questions I'm going to have is, who dispatched you on that sick little cult recruitment thing you were on back then?
All right, so...
But anyway, that's Escaping Atheism. We don't even necessarily want you to become a Christian. Please just get out of that fucking cult.
All right, so obviously we have a lot of disagreement there, but you said you were a former atheist, so what has led you to convert? You mentioned some criticisms of atheists, certain individuals, some disagreements that you've had, but what led you to Christian belief or Catholic belief in particular?
What first led me to my belief was the realization that atheism is illogical and unsustainable rationally on any level, scientifically or otherwise. And that led me to start searching for what religions had the most truth. My particular religion believes that many other religions have spiritual truth in them. That is solid Catholic doctrine. Cultural reasons also did play into it, but ultimately I decided there was clearly something wrong with atheism. There was clearly something wrong with me for not being able to get the God concept when most people could. So I decided I would investigate which church seemed to have the most truth to it. I eventually decided Orthodox, not evangelical Christianity, had more sense and more truth to it. Although I believe the Hindu faith, the Taoist faith, the ancient Stoic faith, which was always a religion, by the way, and was never atheistic, all of those religions have truth in them. All of them have spiritual gifts in them. I believe mine has more, but based on, logic and rational evidence. So that's what led me to becoming a Catholic. I don't particularly want to evangelize for Catholicism. Please become a Taoist. Please become a Platonist. Please become a Methodist. I'm not here to tell you to be Catholic. I'm telling you atheism's awful. Get out.
I see. So for me, I was raised in a Catholic tradition, and I simply took claims on the basis of faith, and that's a lot of what was told. Well, you have to have faith that God exists, and here are the words in the Bible. And I went through the CCD classes, the Catholic Child Development, went through the sacraments, confirmation, everything like that, and hadn't really questioned it until I got into college, and it was a Catholic college I went to, quite an environment where there was a lot of philosophical discussion, even some theology classes talking about belief and unbelief, the reasons that people have for belief, the reasons that people have for unbelief. And for me, I arrived at the position of atheism as that I didn't see good reasons for those beliefs.
Okay, so basically you never have been truly confronted on why atheism makes no sense. This is common for atheists. Out of curiosity, when was the first atheist cult group you joined?
Well, I'm confused also about your wording on that, about the cult group. I'm not really understanding that.
Atheism is an organized network of cults. You haven't recognized this yet. Many of them are of course, calling them skeptic, but the only skeptic proposition they always run to is favoring the atheist proposition. You're not skeptics, most of you calling yourself skeptics, because you're not honest at all. Most of you just assume there's no supernatural, assume there's no God, and cut your skepticism that way. There's no rhyme, reason, or rationality or science to your supposed skepticism. So again, sir, which first atheist or skeptic...
Oh, sorry, you're cutting out there.
Which atheist or skeptic cult group did you first go to meetings for? Like Center for Inquiry, one of the atheist clubs at school? Just curious which of these ones recruited you.
Well, I wouldn't really say so much of recruited, because the deconversion, if you must say, was in college and reading texts and responding to people on campus and going to religious discussions on campus where there were some Christian teachers, theologians, priests who were having a lot of these discussions. And I would ask them these questions. Well, what is the basis for belief? And I found the ideas to be unconvincing, and that's what led to lacking.
So your supposed deconversion? By the way, very Orwellian cult phrasing, deconversion. Atheism is not the default rational position. How dare you fuckwits pretend that you're the default correct view in the world? Someone needs to challenge you on that. You converted to a movement, son, and you converted to a worldview. And if you won't admit this, the rest of us are right to look at you and say, wow, what an incredibly arrogant elitist this is. Well, you assume your atheist proposition is correct? Back that up!
Well, there was some talk about this in your videos and saying that the atheism is the position that there is no God. Atheism is a faith position, but I don't see it as this way. It's merely a word to describe myself as lacking belief in any gods.
I don't believe you.
I don't think
nobody else should believe you. And nobody else should believe you when you make that claim. You're lying when you make that claim. And rational, civilized people who are not Christian, even pagans and Jews, should look at you when you say it's just lack of belief and assume if you'll lie like that, you'll lie about anything. Atheists have no honor and should not be trusted.
Well, I don't think anything comes from this belief, as I see that there are atheists who believe in things like reincarnation. There are some who will classify themselves as materialists. There'll be different ideas on free will. There'll be different political ideas. There'll be different ties with social movements.
Generalizations that you guys make as part of your religion, where you, again, blend and blur. The fact is, we know how most atheists come down politically. Most of you are socialists or socialist-leaning. The few of you, the rest of you, go libertarian. You're extremely predictable thinkers. Your inability to even see all the presumptions you make about the universe and all the presumptions you make about your fellow humans, you can't even see them. You're blind to them. It's like you're brainwashed. And it makes you extremely painful to talk to and painful to be around. And I hear from people all the time who say the same thing about you. Now, you're lying to yourselves. Your atheism makes you predictable. And it makes you scary. And so, Christians especially, because you hate Christians more than you hate anybody else. But every religion, Hindus should be afraid of you. Muslims should be afraid of you. Jews should be afraid of you. Pagans should be afraid of you. Pagans who believe in God. Because you're horrible people.
Well,
and you lie about the religious. And I don't particularly need to be your friend or be liked by you. You're rightly disliked, sir. Your whole community is.
Well, this was one contention I had, and you brought this up about distrust of atheists. You said that atheists have no morals, no form ethical base. You wouldn't vote for an atheist.
Correct.
Why not assume betrayal from an atheist if they cast up absolute good and evil? And you're also saying that atheism speaks as a victim group, but you have a lot of these a lot of these, what I see as misconceptions about atheists, saying that they have no morals.
I have no misconceptions, sir. I was an atheist for more than 10 years. I had hundreds of people who were atheists I talked to. Atheists have no morals, sir.
Well, for me, I draw upon a lot of different traditions. You brought up utilitarianism in some of your videos and some of your talks here.
Yep.
I wouldn't completely go in on that. I look more toward the Stoic philosophy traditions, more virtue ethics from Aristotle, and thinking about how are we to live a good life? What are some good qualities that people have? What are some virtues that we should aspire to? How should we live a good life? The Stoic philosophy talks a lot about the art of living as it applies itself as a practical philosophy from which to go about life. I think there are a lot of good things from that tradition.
Uh-huh. There is a widespread myth that Stoicism was largely atheist. This has been promulgated on the universities very much from the cultural Marxists who've influenced the social justice movement and the feminist movement and the atheist movement. I still don't know how you guys can keep lying and claiming you're not a movement.
I wouldn't claim that it's an atheistic system. As there's a lot of talk about Zeus, there's a lot of talk about divine governance. There are some chapters in the book talking about providence, relation to God. It's a different God they talk about than a personal God or a savior God.
No, it isn't. Atheists lie. Nope, you're slandering the Stoics.
Oh, come on.
You're slandering the Stoics, just like you guys frequently slander the Buddhists and make out that they're an atheistic faith. No, a majority of Buddhists are not atheists, just like a majority of people are not atheists, because atheism makes no logical sense. I'm shocked that if you had any serious theological training, which I am doubting you on, how come no one ever made you question the
Oh, you're cutting out.
How come no one ever made you question the atheist proposition? Or are you going to weasel out like a typical slippery atheist and pretend you're not taking a position?
Yeah.
Because you are.
I don't think it's a position. It's merely a statement of saying, I don't believe. That's.
You don't believe what, sir?
Without beliefs. The belief that any gods exist. Right.
The Stoic concept of Zeus is the same concept as the Zoroastrian concept of Ahura Mazda, who is the same concept as Yahweh in the Bible, who is the same concept of God of Plato, and the Stoics, who were a deeply serious religion, who very much believed in Zeus. In the primitive times, Zeus was, of course, as you know, the guy that throws lightning bolts and stuff like that. But if you get deep into Stoic theology, and I will give you references because I have them, no, their idea of Zeus, or Zeus, was the uncreated creator, the all-powerful, the all-knowing, the almighty, God, the Father, which is probably why actually so many Stoics peacefully converted to Christianity.
Well, with that, I mean, I don't have to accept everything from the tradition simply to draw things from it, as this talk about faith, this talk about divine governance. They see order, they see rationality in the universe, and with that, I depart from that tradition. Yeah.
Well, if you don't see order or rationality in the universe, then, sir, you have no morals, and all your ethics will be dodgy, slippery, and unpredictable.
I don't see how that follows. What is
it? Follows from your own behavior. It follows from the behavior of your community. Atheists are observable. Atheists, for the most part, think Christians are niggers. They treat Christians like niggers. They treat like they're above us. No, it's not even a little. Have you listened to Penn Jillette talk about us? Even when he's saying nice things about us, he's still lying about us. Have you listened to John Oliver? Have you listened to Bill Maher? I'm sorry, to atheists, we're niggers. And we've been listening to you shit on us as a community for more than 10 years now and use us as your whipping boy. A lot of us, a whole lot of us, hear all that hate coming from you and all that slandering of Christianity and what Christianity is really like, and we believe you now. You hate us. Okay, we heard you.
Well, I don't...
And no, being nice... No, and you do hate me if you think you get to lecture me on physics, on biology, on the Big Bang. If you, as a Christian, on evolution, if you think you get the right to lecture me on any of those, fuck you. We gave you most of that science, we Christians. And I see very little meaningful science produced by atheists since completely secularized, anti-religious people have taken over the sciences. In fact, it looks to me like have ruined the sciences.
Well, no, I wouldn't say I hold hate for particular individuals just because we have
Contempt.
Disagreements.
Contempt.
No, not at all. No.
No, you think we're less intelligent than you, and you think we're less rational than you,
No.
and you think we're less evidence-based than you. You think all these things, and these are all lies,
No,
sir.
I don't think that that's the case. I mean, surely one idea about someone's life doesn't shape them as an entire human being. Just because I
Yes,
think
it does.
someone is wrong on certain topics doesn't mean I hold hatred for them or that I think they're less intelligent. In fact, I know many people within the scientific community happen to be religious. I don't think they're stupid. I'm not going to go say nasty names for them or nasty names toward them. It's just a simple point of disagreement, that's all.
Okay, maybe you're one of those atheists who's not like that. I wrote an article about that called "Not All Atheists Are Like That." We do a video on it. Maybe you're one of those, because I've written a disclaimer for you guys who aren't hateful, bigoted, and nasty, and are simply ignorant. But it remains that as a whole, I'm sorry, sir, your community has a logo, it has meetings, it has clubs,
Sure.
It has hundreds of books.
Right,
you're
right.
a movement, you're an ideology, and your beliefs are highly predictable. They're subject to scrutiny, and most are pox on the sciences.
Well, you
Atheism
talk
is a
about
pox on the sciences even, and I hear from scientists saying that.
you talk about atheists as a group, and sure, there are a lot of local groups within this umbrella of the atheism community. Whether people call themselves skeptics, rationalists, humanists, and I'm part of some
rationalist. Right. Another arrogant, offensive term, by the way.
It's not an exclusive term for atheists. I mean, many Christians can put themselves inside that banner.
Yes, it is an exclusive term for atheists, and you know it. You're lying when you say it's not. You're pretending you're the only rational ones, and you're all either atheists or wishy-washy agnostics who lean toward the atheist proposition. And you're all united only under one thing, your belief in your own phrasing. I know, I was there, okay? I was in the cult with you for a while. In your own phrasing, we're united in our lack of belief in any god or gods.
Right.
Okay? That puts you in opposition to all of us who do believe in them.
Well, surely there are some philosophical disagreements, of course, but no contempt or hatred.
Bullshit, I get it every day.
I don't
Christians
see that.
get it every day. Well, then you're not looking, sir, and this is something else I've noticed. The atheist community has no conscience, and no one who will take accountability for abuses, including censorship by atheists, terrorism by atheists, harassment by atheists, bigotry from atheists, abusive behavior from atheists. None of you will take accountability while you still sit there and pretend you're victims who also don't exist as an identifiable group.
We'll see many of these people that come to groups talk about experiences that they've had facing hatred in their communities, some difficulties at work, differences with family members. Some people have been castigated from their households. They say, oh, don't talk to me anymore. And I think of some of what you're saying that's inflammatory about atheists is some of the reason for that. Atheists having no morals, you wouldn't vote for an atheist. I think you're providing evidence for some of that some people say is this resistance that atheists face for openly identifying.
Yeah, and you know what that whiny little bit of bullshit is debunked by? Christians have been unbelievably kind to atheists for more than 10 years, while most of you have been shitting on us that same time. That's what's actually been happening. The same social justice people who took over the mainstream media and made it all feminist, have been obsessed with making atheists into a victim group and making atheists feel like they have a license to abuse religious people, which they now do regularly. I have more than one anecdote, thank you. And no, you're a cult movement, and people need to be able to identify you. Justin, I don't care if you are like that. I say the same thing to you that I say to feminists. If you're one of the nice feminists, you're giving cover to a hate group. And Justin Vacula, if you call yourself an atheist today, you are identifying with a hate cult that can be pointed right at, that you've even been to meetings to. And you're
Right,
going to sit
right.
there and lie to us and say you're not an ideology, you're a movement? Yes, you are, and you're
Well,
dedicated to contempt for your fellow man.
there is indeed a movement in that people are organizing, that groups are getting together. For instance, a
You
group
think
that,
you're, yes, that think you're more rational than the rest of us. We get it.
well, on the idea of religion, obviously we think that religious individuals are wrong about the religious ideas, but not as
Well,
a whole, not as like this idea that we're better than religious people. I don't think this is accurate discourse. This isn't a good way to go forward with a conversation, and it's not a way to treat others.
then tell me who in the atheist community is going to start apologizing for atheist bad behavior,
Well, there's
including bad behavior by Bill Maher, Sam Harris, and other atheist cult gurus. When are you going to start calling them out?
what do you mean calling them out? I don't really understand here. I mean, there are all kinds of different
Honest to-
there are all kinds of different
Sure.
ways that people have in their messages. Some are more satirist, some more snarky. People have different approaches to their activism and what they do.
Well,
Some are comedians, as you're talking about. Some are known as crass. I mean, Bill Maher is on a comedy show. He's making fun of people. I'm not the biggest fan of Bill Maher. I've had some disagreement with him in some cases. Penn Jillette.
well,
I mean, I like a lot of Penn Jillette's stances. I think it's nice that he's out in the public. I like what he does. But as far as the
he's
people,
incredibly... Penn Jillette is incredibly hateful and dishonest toward the Christians he condescendingly pretends to be nice to. He's a vile man, just so you know.
I mean, he had a show that was, bullshit, that was on Showtime that was targeting a lot of different people and was really crass and snarky toward all kinds of different groups. So I don't really see that it's particular here.
And listen to Penn Sunday School sometime. You don't see that it's particular. Good. Why would you? You're not a Christian. In fact, you have, like most so-called skeptics, really you're just atheists, you have contempt for Christians. And so you let that contempt for Christians, it's normal. And you think these are justifiable generalizations about us as human beings. I am more afraid of atheists than I am of Muslims, especially for my son's future. Which is one of the reasons why I and others, I'll show you some more YouTube videos, in our churches, and this is happening, God, I know it's happening in synagogues and other places, training children on what horrible bullies atheists are, using as their examples, using people like Penn Jillette as their example, using people like Bill Maher as their example. Your heroes, Richard Dawkins, who's a pseudoscientist and fraud, by the way. Former member of your community, I'm telling you, Justin, you're in a cult that's in denial about reality and that is based on nothing but hate.
I think
of people who aren't like you.
You know, it's kind of interesting in that in communities you're going to get these people. I mean, when I was in the public eye working on church-state separation issues, I got all sorts of hate mail. I got a lot of backlash from people. There was a local DJ who called me the third most hated person in Luzerne County. There were people sending nasty messages. I mean, it's just going to happen here. I mean,
that's true. You were the one who was running around teaching people that prayer doesn't work, right?
Well, yes,
Yes,
was,
okay. Uh-huh. You're a vile cultist spreading pseudoscience, sir.
You're saying that.
Much research refutes you. We need to be skeptical of you. Because much research refutes you. You were being a bully to simple-minded people who hadn't heard this before, and that's all you were.
This is a problem in that you're criticizing the discourse of the atheist community, but you're calling me a vile cult leader and a bully. This isn't very productive discourse that you're seeking to get.
Be productive, sir? What you were doing there was bullying and recruiting people with pseudoscience. You're rightly disliked.
There was a government event that was called the National Day of Prayer, in which government members were asking citizens to pray to God, and this is what I objected to.
Well, that's incredibly obnoxious and hateful of you, sir. You didn't get enough criticism of it. How hateful are you? Who the fuck are you?
Why is it that you see this as hateful behavior? I don't understand.
You are suppressing how... It is rational and completely evidence-based and logical to think there's God. And most of your fellow human beings believe it, always have, and by the way, always will.
So I don't see this as an argument, really.
Forms. Yes, it is. It's called democracy.
Well,
and what people like do.
It seems to be a bandwagon argument here, that just because so many people believe something, that it's logical to believe. Is that what you're proposing?
Yes. Yeah, of course it is, because that's actually true. That's actually true on any subject. Now, of course, you'll probably run off and scurry off and lie and said that's the only proof you need for God. There's ample proof for God, Justin, depending on where you want to look.
Well,
one proof is the fact that most people believe it. That is actually proof of something.
Well, clearly this can be the case because there are a lot of people who will believe ideas of Marxism, certain political ideologies, that people in North Korea believe that their leader is the emperor, and this simply doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true. It's just a statement of what people believe.
Most people in North Korea also believe that Kim is the emperor. They're correct. Right. They're correct in that belief.
Right, but
if you walk down the street and three people say, look, a black guy just stole a car, and one said, no, I think he was white, or flip the races around, it doesn't matter, you're going to guess that the one who got the race wrong was the minority opinion. In fact, I go into one of my other videos. Atheism is spiritual abuse, psychological abuse, child abuse to inflict on children because it is natural and normal to believe in spiritual forces, and they cannot be compared rationally, scientifically, to belief in the invisible friends or sky fairies or spaghetti monsters. Okay, so you guys are spreading, just pretending that you're the default rational ones. No, most of your human beings know there's something spiritual, that there's something beyond the laws of physics. They know it instinctively, and by the way, they know it instinctively the way they know 2 + 2 = 4.
Well, I don't see those as the same propositions, because when we're talking about mathematics, we have definitions for terms, and this is simply an identity statement. We understand what the value of 2 is, what the value of 2 is, and when you add these values together, you have 4. It's merely evident. I don't think it's evident in the same way that God exists, that we simply think that God exists. So that's not good enough reason that it feels right to me or that it seems that God exists. We don't have this outside standard for that. You talk about cosmological arguments, you talk about near-death experiences, biology, and I don't think that we're correctly drawing these inferences from this available what you consider evidence to the fact that God exists, not only a God, but the Christian God and the Catholic tradition comes from that. I don't see that as a proper conclusion.
Well, if you're going to be a typical slippery atheist, and you're going to say there's no evidence for God, when I have given you massive evidence for God that most
you're giving evidence, but the question is whether it's good evidence.
It is evidence, sir, and you choose to accept it or reject it.
Well, is it good
very
evidence?
Clear. It's exceptionally good evidence, sir. It's unimpeachable evidence. I dare you to impeach it.
Okay.
You can't.
Well, let's hear one of the arguments. How about the cosmological arguments or cosmological constants that you brought up? Let's have that one.
What about them? What about them?
Well, let's hear the argument.
Go watch my video. I'm actually, go watch my video and get somebody who's a physicist to say that what I said there is scientifically wrong. You won't get it done because it's scientifically correct. Go watch the video.
Okay.
And what I consider your question, you're in active denial of evidence. And there is no evidence I can give you because you actively deny any evidence that's given to you. A typical atheist trait.
I really just haven't seen the evidence as being compelling. I think a lot of these...
Okay, you know what? And you know what? If more of you would start saying, I don't find the evidence compelling, but I admit a rational person might disagree with me, you'd be better liked. But you seem to mostly all of you take it on yourselves to declare yourselves the default rational ones in the conversation. It's one of the reasons you're so awful to talk to and be around. And I don't mean just you. In fact, you're one of the better ones. But you're still all pretty fucking awful.
Well,
do you have any more questions?
This is the problem.
I have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes.
Oh, I thought we were going to go to 45 minutes here.
Haven't we already passed that?
No, we're at 28 minutes.
Oh, all right, let's keep going.
I have 28 minutes in the recording here. Yeah. As with these cosmological arguments, I think this was brought up in David Hume's dialogues concerning natural religion, that there's this idea that there is some sort of cause, that we see things around us, that we see a building and that we infer that there's a builder, or we see a painting, we infer that there is a painter. But the criticism in the dialogues was such that, well, we've had experiences with buildings, and we've seen buildings being built before, so we can rightly infer that there is some sort of cause, that there are some sort of builders. But as far as universes are concerned, we simply don't have experience with the creation of universes, or that universes even had a creation. So we're drawing an inference from one thing to another, and in that we can't make that move rightly.
So I'm sorry. Did I just hear that was David Hume? It sounded like
that's
David
right.
Hume.
That's right.
Yeah, the atheist philosopher, who I will give much credit, like Nietzsche and Sartre and a few others who were smart atheists. All of them, including that man you're quoting, would have laughed at your and been embarrassed by your "my atheism is just lack of belief" claim. All of them would be embarrassed by you saying that, because it's so dishonest and so slippery and so slimy, because it gets you out of having to answer for your own bullshit. And it's one of the things that defines your worldview. So anyway, right. Hume is very interesting, very nice. That's a nice opinion. I'll stand with Aristotle and Plato over Hume. And the fact is, those men, just like most philosophers of history, knew that without a god, or at least an idea of a god, morality and firm ethics were impossible. In fact, I can tell you now, and you can check me on this, even though a majority of university philosophers are atheists now, which has happened because of the cultural Marxists, by the way, and why Christian philosophy professors are afraid to speak up anymore in many institutions, like my friend Eve Kaninen. Because atheist intolerance of Christians is huge now on our campuses. The fact is that now I lost my place.
Okay, well, I brought up this argument from Hume.
His argument from Hume.
Yeah.
David Hume was at least honest and said he believed there was no God, which most of you won't do. I would trust a David Hume because he at least had that much honesty. But he still, many others would note what a sophist he tends to be, and how slippery he too tends to be.
Well,
no.
Well, I'd rather talk about the arguments really than the individuals.
An uncreated creator makes more rational sense. An uncreated creator makes more rational sense than any godless universe, which is why even atheist ethicists are now taking Pascal's wager and say, well, we know there's no God, but we're going to pretend there's one anyway. That's happening. You might want to look into it. Pascal's wager is coming back because they feel that they need one, because nobody can do anything coherent about morals or ethics without some standard of God.
I don't see that either. As I mentioned virtue ethics and talking about what kind
of
life should we live. Talking about certain characteristics such as courage, temperance, such as prudence,
honor,
loyalty, indeed. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, those are all things which require value judgments for you to measure something against, sir. This is why in the ancient Christian and non-Christian, just Platonic or Bantu, all the same, the unseen that God is supposed to be part of and being in charge of are beauty, truth, logic, reason, ethics, or not ethics, but those things by which we make value judgments. If you have no objective standard for value judgments, you can go anywhere you want. All the philosophical ethicists are increasingly agreeing with this. No objective standard, no reliable ethics. Well, they just don't work.
I think this objective standard is a trap that we're looking for, this concrete, unmovable objects. But as we learn more about culture, we learn more about history, we make moral progress, and we change our ideas that we have about how other people are to be treated. We have ideas like slavery. That was just some accepted thing in many ancient worlds and even more modern societies, that we thought this is the way we are to live. And if we're to point to this, objective standard, slavery is just something that we do. What room is there for progress in moral thought if we have this objective standard? That's a problem I have with this.
I'm going to point out to you that only atheists talk like you. In any case, I know, because I used to say things all just like that. I have yet to hear anything original come out of an atheist's mouth that isn't at least 3,000 years debunked. Because I'm going to finish my thought.
I'm seeing this again, that a lot of atheists would say the same thing of Christians, but you object when the atheists would say it of Christians, that, it's the same things we've heard before.
No, most of you don't listen to us. You listen to Bible thumpers. You don't listen to smart, educated Christians. Most of you don't.
I brought up this point. I've listened to a lot of debates from William Lane Craig. I've read Mere Christianity. I've read, I have some other books on my shelf, Timothy Keller, The Reason for God. And I've listened to a lot of these arguments, and I just haven't found the points convincing. I've found a lot of opponents, like Stephen Law, for instance, Massimo Pigliucci, who's debated, or some people in the atheist community that that I really enjoy their presentation, their modes, how they engage with the public. You have some issues with how some people behave in the public eye, or some criticism, but I would say that if you disagree with their criticism, that you should emulate the standard that you're hoping to see from others, rather than talking down to atheists, or rather than painting atheists with this negative brush that you don't want Christians painted with.
No.
Why not?
What else you want to talk about?
Okay, all right. Well, we had this. Let's see. You talk
really,
about.
You have no right to ask to be treated decently.
Why not?
Because first off, why should I?
Well,
Give me a reason.
If you're hoping...
No. It does not invoke my Christian ethics. Please give me a single reason to give a shit.
If you're hoping to receive respect from others, then emulating what you would want to see would be the way forward.
I don't believe you. My experience for some years now says the opposite. I will repeat, you treat Christians like niggers. We don't need to take it in.
That's not very productive either. Is it that people are lynching Christians, and that there's like some race baiting and...
Actually, hate crimes against Catholics are up. Yes, hate crimes against Catholics are up, and hate crimes against Jews are up. And while many would like to pin it on Muslims, no, I think it has more to do with anti-Catholic bigotry that's tolerated routinely in the atheist, so-called skeptic community. You guys really tolerate anti-Catholic bigotry. And again, since you guys have no consciences as a community, you won't even be accountable for it. No, sir, atheism is a hate movement. You're associating with a hate movement that I fully expect to get more violent before it's done.
Well, do you think that if you're going to continue hurling invective at people, that people are going to respond to you in kind, and that the criticism isn't going to be seen as tempered, and people are just going to dismiss what you have to say?
You hideous hypocrites!
I don't understand. I'm good.
Hideous hypocrites who listen to people like John Oliver and Bill Maher and Penn Jillette and other supposed brave comedians. I'm being brave back. I am going by the same discourse level that Stephen Fry and Christopher Hitchens established. You should be applauding me for my courage, sir. Why aren't you?
Well, you see, I don't favor an abrasive method of conversation. I like to simply talk about issues and talk to the person. I don't see it's a productive way to go forward, to hurl invective at people. This is not my method.
I don't think it's productive to be nice to people who have no morals, who have no ethics, and who shit on theists and lie about them. I think what's productive is to confront your entire movement and make it take some real criticism from not...
You're cutting out.
Not what the mainstream media has done for 10 years and trot out fundamentalists with no theological or philosophical training, and all these stupid debates that are set up where atheists never have to answer for their own bullshit and never have to prove anything to everyone else. I'm sorry, sir, but a causeless universe makes no goddamn sense.
Well,
so most people are obviously right because to believe in God or some higher purpose, because not only do they instinctively believe it, but logically it makes more sense. You don't have to accept it. Yours is the minority opinion. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's fine, but I'm seeing that I can just simply answer with an I don't know thing. I don't know why the universe is the way it is, if the universe has a cause, if there's some cause of it. Might it be a god? Might it be a demon? Might it be a computer simulation? Might it be something? I don't know. Just because I lack an answer doesn't mean that we should go ahead and believe in God because we don't have a fitting explanation or something that might be problematic. It's simply this what's often called as the God of the gaps, that we don't understand something, so God is simply put in its place.
The only people who believe in God in the gaps, sir, are Richard Dawkins-type atheists. Only atheists believe in the God in the gaps. And it shows their inability to understand a concept that has been understood for thousands of years. The uncreated creator, the unmoved mover. Okay? Those are the definitions used by all these different religions, not just philosophies. For you to stand in ignorance and say, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, consider the possibility that you're wrong and there is one.
Sure, it's a possibility, but as a viable possibility, Well, I don't see good evidence, again, to go back to that there is in fact a personal cause of the universe, or this
Well,
supernatural being, or this.
I'm sorry you don't see evidence. The rest
Right.
of us do.
Right, and the question is
And
whether that's
so
good evidence. You said, like, watch the video that you had, but the viewers, they can go watch that, but we haven't talked about that argument here, other than the idea that many people believe it, and that's good reason to presume that it is true. And
it is the clear experience of most theists, regardless of their religion, that atheists actively deny every single piece of evidence given to them. It looks pathological, and it is very predictable. I have explored this in my videos too. Literally, you deny all evidence while pretending the rational ones.
I see that this happens with practitioners of so-called alternative medicines. They'll say, well, we have this certain modality that can cure you, that if you take this certain vitamin or take this certain pill, that you'll be better, and everybody's denying the evidence, and no one wants to listen. And I see this tactic very much the same. So we say, well, what is the evidence? Let's hear what the evidence is, rather than this talk of the evidence being rejected.
Here comes the atheist science cop. Another one of the most annoying traits of the modern atheist, and why I'm so glad I got out of your cult. Sir, you're not the science police.
This has nothing to do with science.
Furthermore, nothing. There is no reason to believe anything has to be provable by science for it to be true. That's also weird atheist cult.
I'm not appealing to science here. This is philosophical argumentation. I don't think that you've said in your videos that science.
I have no interest in alternative medicine. Why do you? Who cares? What's it to you?
Right. Well, I'm posing an analogy that other people use the same sort of argumentation that you're using here. And
yes.
You won't find that argumentation from them to be an effective argument. That you would
reject. It really depends, actually, because I think some alternative medicine claims have far more substance to them than others. I don't sit in judgment and decide that I know which is best, because empirical evidence clearly suggests that sometimes these cures work for reason or reasons unknown at this time. And the atheist hypothesis that it's all just a placebo effect is an untested hypothesis.
Well,
so again, or dismissal of things like alternative medicine, as if you're the rationality police, as if you're the science cops, another reason you're obnoxious.
Well, the dismissal of alternative medicine is on the ground that there's no significant meta-analysis to back up these claims, that they've been tested and it's been failed many times. This doesn't have things to do with atheism. This is simply something in the scientific community.
No, that is an atheist naturalist world. Call yourselves atheists, rationalists, skeptics, believe what you just said. And sir, what you just said is not empirically demonstrable. So it's a faith position that is common in your community.
It's not a faith position. It's saying we don't think the evidence is good evidence. So until we have that good evidence and that good argumentation.
Who's we? I thought you weren't a community. Who's we?
Well, no, I'm saying that there is indeed a community. I've talked to you before. There are certain groups. I'm saying that this is a lot of what other people say too. I could say I could say we. It doesn't really matter here. I don't really see that as being much of a difference.
What you mean is materialists, which is what 99% of you atheists are. Literally, it's painful to listen to you all go on and regurgitate this, that, or the other point about how, well, you can be an atheist but still think there might be an afterlife, or you could be an atheist.
Sure, and they do. They in fact do.
This is the exact kind of weasel wording as the feminists. Feminism is just about equality. Atheism is just a lack of belief. Both of these are big fat lies.
I don't see that.
Very specific things.
Again, with
you are 99% of you are philosophical materialists. Once you bust out of materialists, once you take the materialist vice.
Well, I tend to go more toward philosophical naturalism, and that all that exists is probably the natural world, because I know that there are some properties such as consciousness that we don't have quite an understanding of at the moment. We talk about ideas, we talk about values. As
most of you are naturalists.
Okay.
Again, another predictable trait of the atheist.
Right.
Who then claims atheists aren't predictable in their thinking.
What? The alternative is what? Supernaturalism. The other alternatives people are simply going to reject.
The alternative is what an increasing number of physicists and ethicists are starting to see. Return to Plato, Aristotle, and the pre-moderns, and realize that objectivity exists, and a theistic worldview makes massively more sense than any atheist worldview. Naturalism is dead. It has given us nothing good in more than a decade. Naturalism is stupid, and it is not
I don't see it as, I don't see naturalism as giving anything, but rather it's just a position that someone takes, that they don't see the supernatural elements. I don't see it as giving anything. I don't see atheism as really giving anything. The individual groups might provide support. They might provide community. People come together. But as far as atheism, again, simply lack of belief in any gods is the descriptor that we're using for ourselves.
No, and a descriptor that the rest of us should never believe you on. Okay. Because most of you become philosophical naturalists if you're smart. If you're dumb, you get into something like Ayn Rand or Marx. If you're smarter and more educated and higher IQ, you might get into this abstract, airy-fairy, college-educated, cultural Marxist indoctrinated, I am talking about you, a fairly ethical standard for your way of life, while people who don't have all the privileges you did, and yes, there are, I use the privilege word, even get through college, when they become atheists, it almost destroys their lives, which is why, by the way, they're overrepresented in the prison population. The atheist cult movement lied to you. If you don't go to church, you're more likely to wind up in jail.
All right.
That's still
we're coming to the end here. We're at about 46 minutes. We were talking for about 45. So I guess that's most of the points that I had. And thanks for coming on for the discussion. You could give your website or your Twitter handle if you'd like to give that so people can reach you.
You can find us at Escaping Atheism. You can find us on Patreon at Escaping Atheism. My name is Max Kolbe. I really am an escapee of your cult, and you can get out too. Philosophical naturalism is bullshit. I'll talk to you anytime you want again, Justin, but you don't have to. God bless you.
All right. Thanks for the discussion. You can find me at justinvacula.com and, of course, on my YouTube channel where it's uploaded. So thanks for the conversation today. Have a good day. Thanks.